So thanks to Wynn, Larry, John, Alicia. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for representing the Commission and the Board Association. There are many, many people who wanted to be here today. Staff, volunteer leadership, a lot of the public that was involved in the creation of this. Because of COVID-19, we can't have the kind of crowd that really I know they're here with us in spirit. So, and they'll also get a wonderful video of the event. So it's with great pleasure that we're able to provide several public updates on what's happening with the North Campus. And I'll begin with the first update. Today we're unveiling the name of this incredible 425. I'll begin by showing you, telling you exactly what that is. It's the St. Louis Zoo Wild Care Park. I was doing so well. Okay, fortunately it's all written down right here. So. Ready? Yeah. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Okay, we're good. Okay, good morning again. It's nice to see you. Good morning. Before I kick some things off with some brief remarks, and what I want to do as my part of this is unveil the name of the property. I'm inviting the following people up here to join me, representing the St. Louis Zoological Park Subdistrict Commission. We have our chairman, Wynn Reed, and our treasurer, Larry Thomas. Representing the St. Louis Zoo Association is our president, John Sondag, and our president-elect, Alicia McDonald. And of course, Joelle Mogerman is at the end. She's the director of this wonderful new campus. Thanks to all of you guys for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Representing the commission, the board association. I want to say that there are many, many people that wanted to be here that couldn't be here today. Staff people, volunteer leadership, people in the community that helped make this wonderful campus come that much closer to being a reality. Because of COVID-19, they can't be here today, but I can promise you that they're here in spirit. So let me provide the first update that we're going to have this morning, and this is the unveiling of the name for this incredible new complex. We're calling it the St. Louis Zoo Wild Care Park. The St. Louis Zoo Wild Care Park. We decided on the St. Louis Zoo Wild Care Park because it hits on 3 different aspects that are important to us. Wildlife, obviously, is part of that wild care name. Conservation, the preservation of the land, the air, the water, the plants, and the animals that live on our earth. And of course, a dynamic public experience. So those 3 things are critical and we hope embodied in that name. With the 2 campuses, we'll still have one common mission, and that mission has been essentially unchanged for over 100 years. I'll read it to you. The mission of the St. Louis Zoo is to conserve animals and their habitats through animal management, research, recreation, and educational programs that support and enrich the experience of the public. So, what's behind the name St. Louis Zoo Wild Care Park? The word wild care is not new for the St. Louis Zoo. Back in 2004, we named our conservation institute the Wild Care Institute, and that was when we first began to centralize our zoo's conservation efforts. Now our field conservation efforts have grown. They represent 17 different conservation centers worldwide, all of them founded on the same basic fundamental principles: wildlife management and recovery, conservation science with applied conservation action, and working with communities, because we know that if we don't have the buy-in and the participation of the local community, our conservation efforts will not flourish and they simply won't continue. So 5 of our centers focus on conservation right here in the state of Missouri, and we're very proud of those. We use the word park very deliberately. It helps describe a guest experience that the public can expect when they come to the St. Louis Zoo Wild Care Park. We want to create an abundance of those kinds of outdoor opportunities where people can connect with nature, outdoor activities, attractions, and nature adventures. So, and at Park, I think Park summons those ideas to mind. Now, I do want to say that COVID-19 may have slowed us down some in terms of the planning, the initial efforts that we had hoped would be accomplished by now. But there are many things that we've been able to advance, and we feel comfortable sharing that we estimate a public opening in 2026, as early as 2026. Now, I've gotten the question about the public opening a lot. Let me just say it again, as early as 2026. I think that's wonderful. I think it's maybe a round of applause for 2026 is a great idea. So there's a lot of work ahead of us, and we want to do this right. We'd rather do it right than fast. So we conducted a lot of public experience surveys. We did studies, we did surveys of tourists, we did surveys with area residents. We'll continue to seek public input as we move down the road of developing the different public experiences here at the St. Louis Zoo Wildcare Park. In the meantime, we're going to be doing this sort of the fundamental things we have to do, zoning and traffic studies and perimeter fencing, and hopefully at some point we'll have animals out here on a pilot basis that you'll be able to see. Now, the St. Louis Zoo Wildcare Park actually features two completely different entities, but they're, I think, highly synergistic. The first is what the public will experience. That's a unique outdoor adventure that I've been talking about a little bit. An adventure that sends guests on a safari through herds of animals roaming. If you could see these gently rolling, grassy kind of plains behind me, these beautiful meadows, and also through our forests. We have very, very extensive forest on this property. And I'd like to invite you to imagine going out there and seeing a herd of giraffe, or going out to the north side of the property and being surrounded by rhinoceros. You know, a herd of giraffe is called a tower of giraffe, and you're really not going to ever experience it until you're right next to them. And a herd of rhinos is called a crush of rhinos. And when you get in your vehicle and they crush around you, I think that that's going to be an incredible experience. You might find yourself silently kayaking up to unwary zebra back in that part of the park over there. Maybe disembarking from your safari truck to have a truly close-up experience. It's more than a safari. I think visitors will be able to explore our forests on trails, and for the more adventurous among you, maybe high up in the forest canopy on those aerial adventures, we'll be able to, I think, create a wonderful, massive indoor-outdoor experience. If you've been on the property, we have a huge building about the size of 5 basketball courts, and what we'll do there is bring you the best of what zoos and science centers and natural history museums have to offer, combined into one special place. There'll be no place like it anywhere. It's never been done before. For those who want the ultimate outdoor adventure, there's tented camping here, and of course glamping, which is glamorous camping, camping at its most luxurious, camping at its finest. So there's many things we're envisioning for the public experience right now. At this time, I'd like to invite Commissioner and Chair Wynn Reed to share more on the second important component for this campus. Do you want to unveil the sign first? This sign? Okay. Before we have Wynn come up, we're going to unveil this sign. Let me step down here.
Joelle, I think you're supposed to.
You ready? Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Wynn. Take it away.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. At this time, I'd like to ask Jerry and Judy Kent and their family to get a front row viewing of the next unveiling. Dr. Bonners and Mogerman, will you please assist them? All right, while everyone is getting positioned, I'd like to share a little bit about the Kent family. Jerry Kent is a serial entrepreneur and founder of several area businesses, including Charter Communications, TierPoint, Staylock Storage, and Sequel 3. He and his family are very involved in the region's charitable organizations, and they financially support many causes through the Kent Family Foundation. And Judy is incredibly busy as a board member and hands-on volunteer for several local charities, She is a truly wonderful woman. Jerry served as the chairman of the Zoological Park Subdistrict Commission before me, and I have learned a ton from him over the years. He truly performed his duties in an exemplary fashion, and not only earned my respect and gratitude, but that of the entire commission. We cannot thank Jerry enough for his service as chair of the commission. Under his leadership, there were so many successes that the zoo was able to achieve, but I won't get into all those today because it would frankly take us all day. Soon, Jerry will end his term as immediate past chair, but I don't think that'll end his involvement with the zoo. He and his family want the zoo to succeed, and today is proof of that intent. Today, the zoo is thrilled to announce a leadership gift that will bring our dream of a conservation and animal science center one step closer to reality. Dr. Mogrim, Drs. Bonner and Mogrim, would you please do the honors and remove the thing? Thank you. Longtime zoo supporters, the Kent family, will place their name on a significant part of the new campus, the Kent Family Conservation and Animal Science Center. This center is where conservationists will work to sustain populations of endangered species, conduct research, and engage in applied conservation programs. It is key to the zoo's work to advance wildlife conservation efforts. The Kent Family Conservation and Animal Science Center and the public experience that Dr. Bonner mentioned earlier will merge applied science with intriguing dynamic visitor interactions. Both are cutting edge and unique. We believe this is the first facility of its kind in the world and will doubtless be a game changer for endangered species as well as for North St. Louis County and the entire region. To the Kent family, thank you. We are so very grateful for your generosity. At this point, I'd like to invite Jerry to come up and say a few words. Thank you, Glenn.
Just for the record, we were all smiling during that, under our masks. Good morning, everyone. Wynn, thanks for the kind words. Really appreciate it. And on behalf of my family here today, which includes my wife, Judy, our children, Matt and Rachel, Matt's wife, Dr. Anna Kent, and Rachel's significant other, Daniel Schlein, I want to thank everyone for joining us. I also want to make a very special thanks to Mother Nature. You know, when you schedule something for mid-December in St. Louis, you never know what you're going to get. Today is perfect, and it certainly makes an event like this much easier and safer in this crazy pandemic world that we find ourselves in. Now, our family has a very special attachment to the zoo, and we're thrilled that the Kent family is able to participate in these major initiatives. We're providing capital to build and expand a unique and cutting-edge conservation and science center for the St. Louis Zoo, and it's by far the most important commitment ever made by the Kent Family Foundation. You know, Judy and I were born and raised here in St. Louis. I often say I was born here, they're going to bury me here. Hopefully no time soon. But we certainly believe that the zoo is the crown jewel for St. Louis. And together with our children, we've been involved in the zoo. We volunteered our efforts, and of course, we have visited the zoo many, many times throughout the years. But one tradition does stand out among the rest. For over 2 decades, my children and I, and now joined by our grandson and a group of friends, we visit the zoo every Thanksgiving Day. We take in all that the zoo offers, we talk, we laugh, we have a great time, and we're amazed at the diversity of animals and celebrate the many reasons we have to be thankful. But every time I walk around the zoo, there's one somber theme, and that's the fact that there's way too many signs describing the habitat and characteristics of the animals, indicating that they are either endangered, rare, or near extinction. And now we can do something about it. The St. Louis Zoo is already one of the leaders in the world in conservation. And my family is proud to partner with the zoo's outstanding leadership team to create a center that will make the zoo second to none in conservation, breeding, and research to stem the growing list of threatened animals. We really want to stop the spread of the warnings on those signs. Now, just as important, year after year, the zoo is the #1 tourist attraction in St. Louis, and that really results in a major boost to the economic impact for our metropolitan area. we're happy to fuel the expansion of that economic growth by basing this new center right here in North St. Louis County. We're really excited to help zoo leadership combine the Conservation Center and Wildlife Park into a new hub for growth, investment, tourism, and advancing animal conservation. It's probably pretty clear that my family is one of the biggest fans of the zoo, and we're thrilled to help secure its leadership position for generations to come. And now, let me introduce someone who's going to make most of these amazing things happen. No pressure. Director of the St. Louis Zoo Wild Care Park, Dr. Joelle Mogerman.
All right, so thank you, Jerry, and the entire Kent family. Your generosity is really going to help us advance our wildlife conservation efforts. We're most appreciative. I know that there's a lot of interest in learning about what animals we plan to have here, but that'll have to wait for another day. Because first we need to understand the current property, the land, and all of its plants and animals that currently call this campus home. As such, we have been conducting a variety of biological diversity studies to help develop a comprehensive list and understanding of the diverse animals and plants that currently utilize the St. Louis Zoo Wild Care Park. There's wildlife all around us, which is why this is so critically important to understand what is here. And those are two bald eagles, which is pretty amazing. So, getting back to my script, we have been mapping the biological diversity and environmental health of this property, including the presence or absence of native wildlife, invasive species, and diseases with potential threats to animals, as well as understanding the types and qualities of habitats on the site. The knowledge gained from these biodiversity studies is essential to help make the best decisions about future property, including animal management decisions, property design, education program development, and overall property management. Currently, there are 8 areas of study: plants, bats, birds, amphibians, reptiles, coyotes and foxes, invertebrates and pollinators, as well as water quality of lakes and streams. Through these studies, we will learn if there are plants and animals that may be of concern for our animals, and whether any native wildlife have created corridors that run through the land. As you can just see by the 2 bald eagles that we did not stage at all, this property is home to a variety of native wildlife. And even in our plans, we want to assure that that wildlife can thrive and persist. What we are looking forward to doing is really engaging the community in this work through potential projects like Frog Watch, City Nature Challenge, invasive plant removal, litter cleanups, bird walks, and other nature experiences. I want to take a few moments to share some findings from these biodiversity studies. Counting and identifying a wide variety of native and exotic plant species growing on the site is important to native animals that use these plants for survival, and our animals that also might eat them. One interesting discovery has been the critically endangered pumpkin ash tree. Bat sounds were recorded at night to identify which of the 14 Missouri species of bats use the property for roosting and migrating through. 5 of those species were recorded, including the endangered gray bat. This land is part of the Mississippi Flyway, a bird highway where land can serve as rest stops for birds migrating long distances north and south. We want to know which species use the property as a rest stop, as well as those that use it for a year-round permanent home. We have identified over 100 species of birds so far, from bald eagles, again, which I did not cue, to turkeys to Baltimore orioles. This place is teeming with a wide variety of invertebrates that use the grasslands, the forest, and water habitats. We have a focus on bees and other pollinators. The researchers even study the night-flying insects using black light. The animals are attracted to the UV light and land on a white cloth. On the cloth, the researchers can observe, count, and identify the different kinds of insects. And I can tell you firsthand, some of them are quite large. Zoo scientists are also studying the health of reptiles and amphibians found both on the land and in the water. Scientists have found many species of snakes, frogs, toads, salamanders, and land turtles. One thing we have discovered is that the ponds support a large number of aquatic turtles, from small red-eared sliders to 24-pound snapping turtles. The scientists are weighing and measuring, taking blood samples, looking for disease and exposure to toxins. Additional studies on health of the ponds and water is important not only for the turtles that currently call it home, but for any future residents. These are just some of the highlights from the biodiversity studies underway, and Martha Fisher, the general curator here at the St. Louis Wild Care Park, and I are more than happy to discuss any of these further with you. As we conclude today's press conference, on behalf of the St. Louis Zoo, I want to thank you for joining us, for your interest and for your support. This is a huge deal. Together, we are building something incredible for the local community, for the region, and for the planet. Thank you and take care.